Hello everyone, and welcome to another Elite London Connect Insight session. I'm pleased to say today that we are joined by John Bellinger from Allon Sports Cars as we cover the theme today of finding out more about the classic brands Lotus and Morgan. So John, a very good day to you, and thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you very much, Alex. Great to be with you. Thank you.
It's our pleasure, completely our pleasure. John, as I like to do with some of the brands that we tend to cover, obviously given circumstances that we found ourselves in the last year and obviously last few months, how have things been for Allon Sports Cars, and how have you been ticking over?
Well, certainly, I guess like many businesses, the last 12 months have brought a few challenges. But overall, we've been pretty busy. Our workshops have been open throughout, carrying out our normal range of servicing work and also restoration work. So that's been going along well. The showroom side's been a little bit more difficult as people haven't always been allowed to visit or felt able to visit. So we've been taking the opportunity to make a lot more use of technology in a way we haven't done before through video, Zoom calls and similar, so we can present our cars, describe them, do the Q&A sessions with prospective purchasers, and then ultimately sell the cars. So we're doing a lot of virtual showrooms of virtual selling at the moment. And then if somebody decides to buy a car, we're also able to offer a click and collect or click and deliver type services. So yeah, all in all, the last 12 months have been okay for us.
Good to hear, and obviously hats off to you guys for adapting to the current circumstances. We've all had to do that in some degree, and obviously we're doing it today, obviously with the pleasure of your time for this insight session. So John, obviously what we want to cover today is a bit more insight and background to the two brands that you represent, Morgan Cars and Lotus. Two very different takes on what British sports cars should be. Please give us a bit more of your personal thoughts about that and the brands themselves.
Sure. Well, we certainly feel very privileged as a business to represent these two very long-established British sports car manufacturers. And in fact, when it comes to Morgan, we are the oldest Morgan dealer in the world. So
wow.
We've got a lot of history going back there. But yeah, totally different takes on what a sports car could be. The Morgans first styled back in the 1930s, and you still see that styling carrying through the cars today. The great long bonnets, the gorgeous sweeping wings, bespoke leather interiors, walnut dashboards. But underneath that styling, which goes back for the decades, there's a thoroughly modern car. And the latest Morgans, which were released over the last couple of years, the Morgan Plus 4, the Morgan Plus 6, totally modern cars with great chassis, suspension, the latest BMW engines and gearboxes. So yeah, a great package, and they go along very, very well. Whereas on the other side, Lotus, an incredibly creative, innovative company who've been at the cutting edge of cars and sports car design over the years. And they've always produced what are arguably the best handling sports cars in the world. And you only have to look back in their history to see their incredible Formula One successes when Colin Chapman was alive. And it's that Formula One success and innovation and quality engineering which has carried on through the cars and made them what they are. But yeah, two totally different takes on what a sports car should be. Don't ask me what's best, which one's best. I enjoy driving both types enormously. Bring a smile to my face, which I think is what it's all about. Of
course, and obviously, being there to touch it, feel it, experience it is one of those things we all crave at the moment. I'm just wondering, does Allon Sports Cars, do they offer factory tours? I can imagine at the moment they're probably not available, but yeah, are they on offer?
Yes, under normal times they would certainly be on offer, and both Morgan and Lotus have been investing serious amounts of money in new visitor centres at the factories, with the idea being they want to attract people in, be it prospective purchasers or just the world in general, so they can showcase the sort of cars they're producing. And the Morgan Visitor Centre was completed at the end of last year. Unfortunately, it's been hit by the lockdown situations, but it really is a fabulous setup there. And when they reopen, well worth a visit. Lotus, with their visitor centre, a little bit further behind the times. They've been delayed from a construction point of view, again, because of the current situation. But once again, when that opens, it'll be something fabulous as well. But with both car manufacturers, they are basically bespoke hand-built cars being built on very low volume production lines, and really unlike any sort of normal car factory to go along and visit. Morgan in particular, there's a lot of traditional craftsmanship going into the cars, the making of the bodywork. There's an awful lot of wood that goes into a Morgan. Ash frames. Once upon a time, old cars were made with an awful lot of wood in the bodies. It's a great material for making cars. It's wood, it's light and it's strong, but it requires incredible skill levels and a lot of man hours. Hence the reason most car manufacturers have moved away from wood. But Morgan still carry on with the traditional craftsmanship, married up very nicely with some of the latest technology and modern manufacturing techniques. And then Lotus just do very much the same, albeit with not so much of the traditional craftsmanship going into the cars, but still very much unique hand-built cars. And once both the Lotus factory and the Morgan factory are open again, yeah, definitely worth a visit. Definitely worth a visit.
I mean, what you're saying there, John, obviously it's bespoke, hand-built. The thing that flags into my mind straight away is that you're thinking maintenance, restoration. These cars, need to be looked after. Obviously, from this interview, we all gather and understand that you sell both these cars and offer factory tours. But what other services do Allon White Sports Cars also offer to their customers?
In addition to the showroom side, then we have two workshops. One of them is a standard type of workshop carrying out routine servicing and MOTs. Also, we do restoration work in there as well. Currently, we've got a 1950s Morgan four-seater, which has come in as a complete car, but it will need stripping down totally and then restoring, rebuilding from scratch. And then the other car we're restoring at the moment is a 1970s Lotus Elan Plus 2. Now, that's potentially a more challenging one, as it came in as lots of cardboard boxes and being far from an incomplete car. And it's always an interesting challenge trying to work out that giant jigsaw puzzle that someone else has taken apart, and then trying to work out what bits you have got, what bits you haven't got, and putting it all back together again. And in addition to our main workshop, we've also got a coach trimming workshop, which is where we look after car interiors and hoods. Anything from maybe just putting a new hood on the car to a full-on interior restoration. And though most of the cars, or a lot of the cars we work on, are Lotus or are Morgan, we also literally work on anything and everything when it comes to cars. So from pre-war Aston Martins, worth fairly serious seven-figure sums, right through to the latest Porsche 911s. So it's quite an amazing selection of cars we will have coming through our trim shop.
Now, with my next question, John, I'm obviously not asking you to do your sales spiel online over this interview, but if I was going to ask you and say, why should somebody look at Morgan cars or Lotuses as an investment? What would you say?
Yeah, and as to reasons why somebody might like to buy a Lotus or buy a Morgan, well, first and foremost, it's about the enjoyment of the cars, and they are very special cars, really quite unique compared to what else is out there on the road. And as I was saying earlier, they bring a smile to your face when you're driving them. And also with both cars, they never get scrapped. The Morgans and Lotus, they both turn into classics as the years go by. And it's that longer term enjoyment of the ownership of the cars. And the cars very much get passed on from one generation to the next. And the 1950s Morgan I was talking about earlier that we are restoring, or just starting to restore, that one's been in the family for now into the third generation. And it's very much a car that will be staying in the family to be enjoyed as the years and hopefully many more decades go by. But both cars are brilliant, whereby depreciation is basically unknown with the cars. And if you're buying a Morgan or buying a Lotus of a certain age, then yes, they do tend to go up gently over time. And but it's, as I say, it's very much about the enjoyment side of the cars, which we try and put over to people, and the cars which also other road users seem to like. If you pull up at a petrol station to fill up your Morgan, someone will always come up to you and start talking about the car. And if you're waiting at a junction to be let out, people will always let you out into the road as well. So it's a car which a lot of fun to own and enjoy, and also cars that seem to be really appreciated by other people, other road users as well.
Whereabouts are Allon White Sports Cars based, John?
We're in a little village called Cranfield, which is in Bedfordshire, halfway between Bedford and Milton Keynes. And yeah, nicely accessible. We're only 5 minutes drive from junction 14 of the M1, or just out from our backyard, we have Cranfield Airfield, which is a fair-sized airfield, and a number of our customers do fly in to have a look at the vehicles we have in offer. And then the other thing. And then the other benefit being in the rural location is we got some fabulous countryside and fabulous roads, so a great place to come for a test drive and put the cars through their paces and to see what they're all about.
That's obviously very useful to know, knowing that you're near Cranfield Airfield as well. Obviously, given that with a part of our event, Elite Events London, we do have obviously quite a few aviators that fly in, so it'd be good for them to realise and know that they are very close to your location, should they ever fly into Cranfield Airfield. John, what, in terms of finding out more details or getting in contact with you or a member of your team, where can people go? What's your website?
Yeah, the website, I think, is always the best starting point for us to find out more about us as a business and what cars we may have in our showroom. And the website is allonwhite.co.uk.
And are you also on social media, John?
And then, in addition to that, Facebook is the main social media outlet that we use.
Brilliant, John. I want to say thank you very much, obviously, for giving us insight, a brief insight to Morgan Cars and Lotus Cars. And I want to, as I say, thank you very much for your time today, and look forward also to accommodating you at our show at Elite Events London. John, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Alex.
Cheers.